The next section of our Church Protection Plus Risk Management series is entitled Top 10 List of Liability Risks for Churches and Christian Charities. And unlike the David Letterman version, late night version, this particular presentation isn't nearly as funny, particularly if you happen to be a church or a leader on the receiving end of a liability claim. In our capacity as a brokerage that specializes in insurance for churches and Christian charities, we have the unique perspective of seeing what goes wrong in churches and charities. In fact, sometimes I think we need special prayer because we probably have a bit of a distorted view and we don't hear about all the things that go right. However, our advantage is because we do see the things that go wrong, it gives us an opportunity and an ability to educate and make organizations and their leaders aware of the kinds of issues that are happening in other churches and to give them constructive and helpful guidance on avoiding things that are preventable and are foreseeable. This is a listing of the top 10 liability risks facing churches and Christian charities. And off the top, I will mention that these risks are on the list for one of two reasons. Either, and we use insurance terminology to explain this, but they are either due to severity or frequency. Severity simply means that when one of these events happens, when something goes wrong with this type of risk, it goes wrong badly. It can be very serious. Fatalities, serious and permanent injuries, large civil damage suits. The other criteria is frequency, meaning although the injury or the amount of civil damages awarded may not be as large, these are things that take place on a very regular basis in churches and in Christian charities. And the list is in general order of the most serious and the most common issues that take place. Firstly, physical and sexual abuse is the number one concern for churches and charities, particularly those that are youth serving or have active children's ministries. And I will talk about abuse prevention and abuse issues in a lot of detail in A Safe Place, which will be the third section of this presentation. Other top 10 lists: sports and recreation programs. Third, injuries and liability claims arising out of the use of owned vehicles and even non-owned vehicles, vehicles that are used on your organization's behalf. Fourthly, outside user groups that use your facilities and their participants and their guests. Fifth, slip and fall claims that take place on your premises or during your sponsored activities. Number 6, wrongful dismissal claims, employment practices claims. 7th, claims relating to counseling that your pastors and your staff provide. 8, breach of fiduciary duties, where your board members have acted in a way that they've made decisions or set policy which are in breach of their fiduciary duties, or perhaps even against statute, against laws that they may not even be aware of. 9th, libel, slander, defamation, invasion of privacy. And finally, 10th, discriminatory practices, where your faith beliefs come into conflict with somebody's personal behavior in life, and where you have to take discipline to remove them, and they take you to court. This is the top 10 list. So I'll talk in a little bit more detail now about each of those points.